Sir Handel and Duncan had a bad day. The coaches had been awkward to them, and they were furious. "Those cattle trucks made me slip up to a standstill today," Sir Handel fumed. "They should be scrapped!" Skarloey was shocked. "I won't have it," he protested. "Those old coaches need kindness, not bad names." "Exactly so," agreed Rheneas. "I nearly came off the rails," Duncan interrupted. "My coaches pushed me, but the Fat Controller said they didn't. He said I kept a bad lookout." "You two should be grateful that we're not a mountain railway." "A mountain railway?" asked Handel. "What's that?" "A railway which climbs mountains, of course." "But it can't! Its engine's wheels would slip." "But it can. We've heard of one quite near here." "It can't! It can!" Their argument was cut short by a whistle as Donald stopped by with a flatbed that had an engine on it. It had 6 small wheels and a stovepipe funnel. His boiler was tilted downwards and his cylinders were back to front. "Dinna wake the wee engine," Donald whispered. "He's tired. His name's Culdee, named after the mountain his railway climbs." "Huh? Where am I?" the engine asked as he woke up. The engines began to ask him so many questions. "Do you really climb mountains?" asked Skarloey. "I've done it for years," he answered. "You must be clever. We couldn't. Our wheels would slip." Culdee laughed. "I'm not really clever. I was just drawn like that." "Like what?" "With pinion wheels on my axles. They have teeth. They fit into a rack rail, so we can't slip, no matter how steep the line is." "That must help you go up," said Rheneas. "Aren't you afraid of going down?" "Why? We have good brakes. Coaches are sometimes silly and try to push us downhill. Some engines find it hard to stop them." Sir Handel felt embarrassed. "Our coaches are never silly," continued Culdee. "They know such tricks are dangerous. I never had that sort of accident." "I recall you having 2 coaches on your trial. Do you ever take more?" "No. Our line is so steep, we're only allowed 1. Mine's called Catherine. I know her very well, and that's important." "Why," puffed Sir Handel, "they're only coaches." "Ours are something more. You pull your coaches, and you can see ahead. We push ours up, so we can't see. Our coaches watch the line for us, along with the guard. But Catherine is so clever that I know at once when anything goes wrong." "That must have taken a load of your mind," chuckled Skarloey. "But not of my buffers. Climbing is hard work and requires lots of steam. My fireman and I have a tiring time. Going down, however, is a whole different story. Catherine and I just roll. We don't need steam for that." "You're lucky, Culdee," sighed Duncan. "Coaches don't like me. They push me around. I nearly came off today, and the Fat Controller told me that he has no money to mend me, and if it happens again, he'd put me at the back of the shed. Why does he always pick on me? It's not fair." Skarloey and Rheneas said nothing. I should like that, smiled Sir Handel. With your automatic brakes, it sounds like a rescue. That, said Culdee, was the same mistake poor Godred made. Who is Godred? The engines asked. Godred was our number 1, named after the king, although it probably got into his smoke box. He never kept a good lookout. He'd roll down looking anywhere but the track. You'll have an accident, I always told him. Puh, he said, I've got automatic brakes, haven't I? And my driver has an air brake. What more do you want from me? More sense from you, I said. No engine can stop all at once if he isn't ready to obey his driver's controls. The first thing an engine learns, agreed Skarloey. Godred never learned sense. His driver, fireman, and the manager all spoke to him. They even took him to pieces to see if anything was wrong. But he still went on the same way. One day, I was going up and waited at the station for Godred to pass me. One moment he was on the tracks, the next his crew jumped clear as he rolled down the mountain. No one was hurt. His coach stayed on the rails, and the guard braked it to a stop. They brought Godred home the next day, where the manager was waiting. We have no money to mend you, he said, so you shall stay at the back of the shed. As time went on, poor Godred got smaller and smaller, till nothing was left. What happened? Stuttered Sir Handel. It's not nice to talk about, said Culdee. But what happened? Asked Duncan. Why isn't it nice? Our drivers used Godred's parts to mend us. The engines, especially Sir Handel and Duncan, remained silent for the rest of the day, even when Donald took Culdee home. Skarloey and Rheneas wondered if he had made the story up. But between you and me, it remains a mystery.